ITV News with Romilly Weeks.
Good evening. Pope Francis has praised his predecessor, Benedict XVI, as noble and gentle after the former pontiff's death this morning at the age of 95. Pope Benedict became the first to resign in nearly 600 years when he stepped down as the head of the Catholic Church in 2013, citing old age and poor health. King Charles has paid his own tribute, giving thanks for what he described as the former Pope's constant efforts to promote peace and goodwill to all people. Julie Etchingham looks back at his life.
The papacy of Benedict XVI will be forever remembered by his resignation from it. The first pope in 600 years to step down, this quiet, studious man shocked the world when in 2013 he said the role had become too much for him to bear. Just 8 years before, Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger had become the oldest pope elected for nearly 3 centuries.
Cari fratelli e sorelle.
He had almost as a motto, faith in God is not a problem to be solved, but it's a richness to be discovered again.
Born into a Bavarian family, the son of a policeman, the young Joseph was conscripted into the Hitler Youth, but later deserted. He was appointed Archbishop of Munich in 1977. As Cardinal Ratzinger, Benedict became right-hand man to his predecessor, Pope John Paul II, as anger was beginning to grow over the abuse scandal. Nicknamed God's Rottweiler by some, there were claims he did not take the issue seriously enough. But as Pope, Benedict did confront the issue and accepted the Church's guilt. On his visit to Britain in 2010, he met victims of abuse in private and offered a full public apology.
Above all, I express my deep sorrow to the innocent victims of these unspeakable crimes, along with my hope that the power of Christ's grace, his sacrifice of reconciliation, will bring deep healing and peace.
The Pope was a man of great compassion who cared deeply about global conflict. This was ground zero in 2008.
God of peace, bring your peace to our violent world. Peace in the hearts of all men and women, and peace among the nations of the earth. Turn to your way of love those whose hearts and minds are consumed with hatred.
He took that message to 2 American presidents and to Prime Minister David Cameron. Unlike his predecessor, Benedict was a reluctant pope, a studious, thoughtful man, a pianist who loved Beethoven and cats, and who lived out his final years in tranquility and privacy.
We are moved as we recall him as such a noble person, so kind, and we feel such gratitude in our hearts. Gratitude to God for having given him to the Church and to the world.
His critics say he failed to adapt the Church to the 21st century. But his beliefs that its strength lay in traditional values and absolute truths struck a deep chord with those who flocked in their thousands to see him.
The former Pope, Benedict XVI, who's died at the age of 95. Olympic gold medalist Denise Lewis has told ITV News of her shock when she learnt she was being made a dame in King Charles's first New Year's Honours List. She's among more than 1,000 recipients, including Queen's Brian May and 4 of England's Euros-winning football squad, as John Ray reports.
In a year perhaps best forgotten, honours for some of those who created one indelible and joyful memory.
It's Leah Williamson to bring it home.
For Leah Williamson, captain of the Lionesses and OBE, MBEs for 3 teammates who together changed the face of football.
Yeah, we won the Euros, but we made England women's team just as exciting and as fun to support as the men's team. We made little girls buying football boots just as normal as little boys.
2 decades on from her Olympic triumph, Denise Lewis is made a dame for her voluntary work. The same winning feeling, she says.
Grinning like a Cheshire cat. And I'm just tingly. I can only describe those physiological things that happen when you get news that you just weren't expecting.
In the King's first honours list, rock royalty is recognised. Brian May moves from Queen to Knight after checking an unexpected email.
I thought, OK, don't get your hopes up now, Brian. Anyway, I clicked on it and there it was. And it said, we would like to honour you with a Knight Bachelor. Honour you as a Knight Bachelor. And I thought, wow.
And some honour is salvaged from the tragedy of Ukraine, with an award to a British nanny who raised funds for children fleeing the war.
Watching families walking hand in hand with literally what they could carry in their hands is just heartbreaking. So just wanting to help really, rather than sitting at home doing nothing. In all, a reminder that in tough times there are reasons to feel pride. John Ray, ITV News.
We're just under 6 hours away from seeing in the new year, but for many around the world, 2023 has already started with a few big bangs. Around 1 million people watched in Sydney as Australia kicked off the celebrations with their famous firework display over the Harbour Bridge and Opera House. Hong Kong has scrapped all COVID restrictions for visiting tourists just in time to witness these scenes at Victoria Harbour, the host of grand New Year celebrations there. And in Taiwan, the iconic Taipei 101 skyscraper played host to the beginning of 2023 with 16,000 fireworks over the course of just 5 minutes. Members of Ellie Edwards' family have attended a special prayer service in Merseyside to remember the 26-year-old who was shot at a pub in Wallasey on Christmas Eve. People across the community gathered at a number of local churches to light candles and pray. Merseyside police have arrested a third person in connection with Ellie's shooting. The 31-year-old man from Tranmere has since been released on bail. Finally, in the Premier League, title challengers Manchester City unexpectedly dropped points today. They were held to a 1-1 draw at home by Everton. And Marcus Rashford was dropped to the bench by Manchester United for disciplinary reasons for their game at Wolves. But he redeemed himself by coming on to score the winning goal. The 1-0 victory takes United into the top 4. And that's it. I'm back with the late news ahead of the midnight celebrations. Until then, goodbye.
Feel-good weather continues throughout the evening, which wraps the day up nicely. Heinz Seriously Good Vegan Mayo sponsors ITV National Weather.
Hello there, very good evening to you. I hope you're excited about the last few hours of 2022. The weather is, well, fairly mixed across the UK. When we look ahead to midnight, the bulk of the rain from today that was sitting across more southern areas has moved into a fairly narrow and intense bands of rain, sitting there across southern Scotland and Northern Ireland, wintry there across the higher ground. Towards the south, though, it is going to be largely dry around the stroke of midnight and mild as well. These temperatures above what they should be during the day at this time of year. But it's cold, as you can see, across the north of Scotland with wintry hazards. Looking ahead to the first day of 2023, it continues to be a fairly unsettled, wet and chilly picture there. Wintry too across much of Scotland. Elsewhere, though, a reasonably dry, if rather cloudy sort of picture. A few showers moving in from the west. They'll be pretty squally, so really blowy in places. And temperature-wise, well, mild in the south, again cold in the north. That's it. Have a lovely new year. I'll see you soon.
Heinz Seriously Good Vegan Mayo sponsors ITV National Weather.